like to indulge in, Billy. Now's the time.
Well, son, I guess you're right. I am a butthead. Hey, Bill.
We're on the casting couch.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, all right, the door's locked.
And it's we have a blue couch. We don't have the black couch.
Oh, you gotta mix it up sometimes.
So. Like that, make it pop a little bit.
Yeah.
You know? Welcome to a new episode of Kill of the Week. I'm your host, Brandon, with my partner and co-host, Jill. And today we are sitting with our good friend, Ryan of Family Garden and also local artist. So why don't you tell us what movie kill you picked and why you picked it?
All right, so I decided to pick, and it took me a minute because there's so many good kills out there. But I truly think of all the horror movies that I have seen and continue to watch, right now my standing is going to be the Shunting from the Classic Society.
All right, why the Shunting?
Why the Shunting? Well, geez, let's get into it a little bit. Mm-hmm. So, the Shunting is something that almost, it's like, you could almost look at that, is it even a kill? Or is it, it's almost a part of the whole movie? Because it's such it's not like a quick, dude's head gets chopped off. It's not like, oh, they're ripping his intestines out. This is a whole half-hour scene of just fucking chaos, and it's so originally orchestrated.
It's the whole third act of the fucking movie.
They slow build it up, but boy, do they deliver. And it's the thing is, it's got it all. It's got it all. And where else have you seen someone get fisted? Yeah. A dude gets a fist in his ass.
Yeah.
And then the fist makes his way up his body. The hand comes out of his face and then pokes his eyeballs out. Yeah. And that's not even the end of it.
No.
That's what's so crazy about it.
And then, what other movie do you have where a kid talks to his stepdad that is now a fucking asshole?
Yeah.
Literally, the asshole of this body.
No, while his dad's fucking his sister and his mom. Yeah. So it's just like, where did they come up with, where, and the whole half hour part of that, and even when they, you think it stops there, they fist them, and then they pan out, and it's just all these people in this worm cult, which is what they have. And there's people making out with each other. They're making out with the eyeballs.
Their lips are glued to the body parts and stretched out congealed.
They're all sucking on them.
There's so much to see. There's so
and
much.
they're all lubed up.
Yeah, it's slimy.
Moist, yeah.
Some dude's wearing a bra. There's some guy in the background wearing a bra.
Did the sister come out of the mom? Like her face was coming out of the mom?
The sister and the mom
turned
into this
Siamese. It was like 69 from hell is what happened with the mom and sister.
Yeah, and
it's just something for everyone. There's just so much happening.
Everything leading up to that. Yeah, there is. There's so much for everyone. And, when you dive into how they made that and what made them come to that, it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, and it's funny too because the whole movie was written based on that scene. He wanted to do that effect, the whole congealing effect.
Yeah,
and he's like, "This is what I want the thing to be." Shit, now we got to make a movie based around. We got to write a story based around this one effect.
Well, that was I guess when Yuzna when he first got the script, they were supposed to be a devil cult, a satanic cult, and he was like, no. Which is, I respect the fuck out of him for that, because he was like, no, everyone's doing this. I don't want to do this satanic cult thing. It has to be something unique. Yeah. Which is why I fucking love that man to death. And then he went to Screaming Mad George.
Yep.
And Screaming Mad George was at UA Arts at the time.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was at UA Arts. He was still like an effects artist, but he was either at UA Arts or he just graduated. And Yuzna was like, I have money and you can do whatever the fuck you want. So I apparently from what I read from my research was that Screaming Mad George gave him the idea of that from paintings of Dali.
Oh,
Salvador
that's
Dali.
Right.
I can see that now, actually, yeah.
So he was influenced by that.
Oh, that's sick.
And I just think where they got that magic from was Yuzna just gave him freedom.
Oh, yeah.
And was just like, we're basically, I don't know, he was apparently a finagler when it came to getting funding for his movies, which I think that's why him and Gordon would go so far with everything.
True, yeah, that makes sense.
Because it had to be a thing, which is how most of my favorite movies are made, when the studio's like, hey, we got to get rid of this before tax season. Here's fucking 50, whatever. Here's, $50 million. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't that much, but here's whatever. Make whatever you can with it. And I mean, just the whole process of how they did it, and the way those practical effects came out with the angles and everything.
Oh, yeah.
It almost reminds me now, unfortunately, AI art's a big thing. And it's not going anywhere, and we just have to adapt to it. I don't want to go on an off tangent on that. But when you see these videos of these creepy AI images all morphing into each other, it's almost the same. Like the shunting, they did all that fucking 20 years ago. Oh, more than 20 years, 40 years ago now almost. With fucking practical effects.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that, I'm like, this is like one of those weird AI videos that pops up where it's like old ladies melting into cats at a nursing home.
Yeah.
Oh,
but this is all actually made out of
like
like
a giant fever dream.
clay and fucking and man hours.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Oh man, I also think it's funny too because like Screaming Mad George had his freedom on that, and like when I was looking up like the factoids of it, because like we can go into like a little bit of like the housekeeping of it. That this is Brian Yuzna's first film that he directed.
was this on his own?
Yeah.
Because
So
he was with Gordon beforehand. With
this was his
Reanimator?
like directorial debut for this one.
Okay.
And he worked with Stuart Gordon. He was the original concept guy for Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And he brought on Screaming Mad George, like you said, to have that freedom.
Such a good team.
Yeah, it worked.
I mean,
so
that team. I mean, the one thing I love about Mad George is just how stretchy and gooey he makes everything. There's always a glisten on any of his effects.
It was funny when I was looking him up and I was like looking up his credits and this and that. I was like, this guy did, and this is what it said on his IMDb page. He was the makeup head on the NSYNC music video for "It's Gonna Be Me." And is that the puppet?
Really? I did not even know
that's
that.
They were the puppets, so he
Yeah.
turned NSYNC into puppets for that music.
That's
dolls.
Screaming Mad.
that
How the
was Screaming
fuck
They
did
were
they?
marionette dolls. Thank
That
you very
sits,
much.
dude. You blew me away with that fact.
No, they weren't marionettes. They were
They
Whoa.
were on the
like little
show.
Barbies.
Is that what it was? Okay, yeah.
That was when they were in the toy store.
Yeah, so even the glisten was even that because he replicated like the plastic shimmer from the dolls and had them in that, so he did the same effects.
Is he still doing effects work?
I have no idea.
He's got to be
I hope.
teaching or something. He is a maniac. That
Oh
guy.
yeah, because he did stuff with like Big Trouble in Little China and like look at everything on that fucking film.
Oh my god, even Frankenhooker.
Yeah,
At
exactly.
the end when all the little body parts.
Yeah.
And Nightmare
Oh,
on
he
Elm
did
Street.
4 and 5, I think.
Yeah, when you could see that when Freddy takes his shirt off and all the kids
Yeah.
are there and they're all like crying and it's that same like flexible rubber type thing. And oh my god, dude, like he just really killed it. How about? And I guess you could say it's because it's a sequence. I mean, it's a kill, but it's also just a sequence.
Oh yeah.
When I forget the lead character's name, the kid.
Milo maybe.
Milo, when he punches the guy.
Oh yeah.
He then returns the fist.
Yeah.
And then rips the guy.
He rips him inside out. Yeah.
And it's all worms on the inside.
Yeah.
Apparently, what's funny about Screaming Mad George was he hated the worms.
Oh really?
He designed all this crazy shit and all these like weird butt talking people and eyeballs and just orifices going in and out of orifices.
Oh my god.
And then he can't do the worms.
See, oh man, that's really fucking.
Which is funny. That's usually the case.
And it's like I love the fact that like you get that huge payoff at the end, like to where you physically can see everything. But the build up, like you said, like it built it up just right. Like when he walks in the bathroom and he sees the sister in the shower, and like
she's backwards.
and she has that weird thing, and it's just like, what the fuck is going on?
The entire thing was a build up. This weird sexual tension, alien.
The
thing
sexual
happening.
tension
Yeah.
is like really apparent in that. Yeah, they put like the blow up doll in his car.
Yeah,
That's another reason why I like it so much, though, is because it is such a fuck you to like just like societal hierarchy and shit. Because it's just this outcast in Beverly Hills.
But they just keep cutting back to his therapy. Like, poor you.
And his therapist isn't listening to him, and he's like, something's going on. This is fucking weird. And just him and his buddy, and then they fake his friend's death, and it just all that leading up to it is so just it's almost claustrophobic.
Yeah. Claustrophobic is a good way to describe it.
And I remember the first time I saw it. I mean, I was younger when I first saw it. I remember I definitely was, when it was over, I was like, what the fuck was that? But now that as I rewatch it, I almost like it more and more because of how it's directed, how you don't know what's going on.
No,
really.
Not at all. Like, you're kind of with him on these things of like, okay, like rich people in general are already fucking weird and freaky. Yeah. So I can only imagine just what they do behind closed doors.
Well, this is what they do.
Yeah, exactly. This is exactly what it is. No.
But I feel like even if you see her in the shower and everything, you would have no idea that final scene was coming the way that it was.
Oh,
yeah,
like,
you wouldn't. Like, it's like this is gonna end in some kind of ritual orgy fucking thing, which is, I mean, come on, that's awesome.
Oh my god. And like the judge and everything is in it, just running around and
he's in his undies. Yeah, what's funny, his head turns into that hand.
Yeah.
Which they took Screaming Mad George when he was at UA Arts, painted like a Dali piece. And in it was like a dude with a hand for a head, and Yuzna made him recreate that.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, and the judge has a weird smile on his face.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that weird Joker cut.
And they put the kid in like that fucking leash.
Yeah.
And they have him on the leash, and they're making them watch him like suck his friends.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my
just,
god.
I mean,
they're
you're
literally
going this
sucking
far, you
his
might as well
friend.
go in every kink possible.
Yeah.
You shove them all in.
Yeah, I mean,
Nothing was off limits.
Come on.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
there is nothing off limits. I think it was banned in the U.S.
Oh, I
when it
believe
first
it.
came out. It didn't get a theatrical release, but I think it did well overseas.
but that's the kind of movie I wish people were like throwing up in the theaters watching.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I wish I could.
That is one, because it is gory too, as it's equally gory and just uncomfortable and sexual.
Even with that, like not only the visuals, but like the sound design. Like when you're hearing the fucking slurps and the sloshing and everything. And like we have a pretty decent like sound system in our apartment. So like we have like the nice like Bose sound bar and everything like that. So like when we watch it, we crank it, and that's
You're
all.
cranking.
Oh yeah, we had that.
Your
cranked.
neighbors were probably like, "What the fuck?" They're like, "Oh, it must be their anniversary."
Yeah. I hope that's what they thought. Because that shit was. Oh yeah, the sound design in that was like
the sound design, and they have that weird like fucking carnival music playing in the background too. That's another. It's not like scary music. It's like carnival happy music, which makes it even more unsettling. Yeah. And the pink hue.
Oh my god!
Because remember, they like everything's light, and then when they get to the shunting and they bring his friend in, they all start sucking on him. The light the whole thing just changed. Like the lighting just abruptly changes, and like, oh man, that's so fucking good, that part.
They really did light and color this film like as a whole very, very well. Because even like the therapy scenes, like it's so muted and neutral.
Everything is muted. Yeah, when he's in there talking about, you're right. It's not a loud movie.
Not until that end.
It's
that orchestral like rise, and it's like fucking Bugs Bunny when he was doing the whole orchestra thing. And
it is. It really is. And oh man, when he bites into the apple and all the worms come out, and you can hear the worms squelch. That's the shit that I just fucking love, man. I just the squelching body horror and slime.
It's so good. And like going back to the therapy scenes, those scenes weren't in the movie, the original cut.
Oh, really?
Basically what they did was like they did the movie, and it was going to be told, it was only going to be one therapy scene. It was going to be him telling the story of like, I witnessed this weird orgy. So it was all meant to be as like a memory, but someone watched it. I don't know if it was Stewart or not, but I remember there was like a name. Someone checked it out and was like, no one's going to know what the fuck is going on. So
It just flowed better.
It would flow better. Like sprinkle in these therapy scenes to build that tension up. So they had to go back in to help narrate the story. So they went back and filmed all these different therapy scenes to splice in throughout the movie.
And that's a better way of doing it. I mean, yeah. Because how would that flow? Hey, I got out of this thing.
It's like,
Yeah, you really didn't want him looking back at it.
no, not at all. It's better that he was in the moment trying to be like, no, this is what's going on. I think you're losing your mind, kid.
The best way for him to do that would be he was in therapy, and then the therapist is like, well, looks like you're fucked now. And then they all come out. And they just do the shunting again. And then it just ends.
God, that would have been so fucking
two
good.
They did a really good build-up because like he recorded the recording of the sounds and then the sounds.
The sounds of what,
like,
though?
The sounds were
It was
gone,
his
yeah.
mom and dad
Yeah.
fucking
Oh,
his
God,
sister. They're fucking.
Yeah, and he just doesn't hear it, and you're like, okay, everyone's in on it, or else he's crazy. Like it's like the build-up of like it was fucking perfect.
It is. I mean, and it's just, man, it's just such a. It's a very punk movie.
Yeah.
You know?
It's
it's
raw.
Just,
It is
it's
raw.
just very raw with the whole outcast shit. Like I don't want to go. And his girlfriend's giving him all this shit. Like you're going to such and such's party. And he's like, I don't give a fuck. Because that's how I feel all the fucking. I just sort of like be left alone and whatever. Have fun at your fucking little stairwell.
And she's sending him to like beat up little kids on the beach.
Oh yeah, because they like kick sand on.
Yeah.
And, you know, I like that character because not his girlfriend, but then he ditches his girl and then starts hooking up with one of the shunters, I guess you would call them. And it's before you like find out what's going on. And I love it when she's in the bed and she looks at him, but then you see her hand like awkwardly, and it's just like little details in that scene.
It was really, if you look away, you would miss it.
You would, yeah.
If you watch it, I love this movie. You have to watch multiple times and catch
little nuances.
I like too because like they were talking about that scene. There was like a bit that I saw like talking about that scene in particular with the extra appendage because she was, I think that girl, she was like a Playboy model. I think she was. Like
I think so.
She was like a centerfold. And they wanted to do that effect, and so she got another one of her like Playboy friends to be the bottom half. So they like cut a hole in the bed and had them both. Both laying there. So like it was really cool that like she was able to get like her friend to be like, oh, I know someone who can same complexion and match me totally fine, who's a friend of mine, and just do it all together. And
all practical too.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I don't even think there's not even claymation in that movie.
No,
is there?
I don't think so.
It's all right there. I mean, even when his sister's back is like pulsating.
Oh yeah,
it's all sweating and pulsating. And you know, I like it that already spoiled viewers. I mean, if you haven't watched it, but I like that they don't really go into what they are. Like they just hint that it's like a worm cult.
Yeah.
Because they're like, we're not. Because at one point he's like, fuck you, outer space scum. He's like, we've been here longer than you. We own it. He's like, we've been sucking off you poor assholes forever. And like just that
but
whole.
I don't think we needed it explained. We didn't need to see how.
No, you don't.
Definitely not.
You don't.
Unnecessary. And I'm glad they didn't do it.
Yeah, it's a lot more effective.
And I'm glad it wasn't a satanic cult or anything else. Like it didn't need to be.
And Yasna always went with let's do it. He had his own way of doing things, which I always and say sort of Gordon. That's the thing with Yasna was he was always like, if someone's gonna give me money to make a movie, I don't care if it's a sequel, I don't care if it's a fucking remake. Yeah, I'm gonna make the movie. Yeah, as long as I can do what I want. And you really gotta respect that because there's so many people out there looking for funding, you know, looking for whatever, especially nowadays. I mean, you guys know how it is. It's fucking hard. Making a movie is not easy. No. And for him to just, hey, I'll do it. Yeah. I don't care. I'll do it. Like, you gotta just the originality of his vision. Yeah, and it's something I'll always respect from that director.
And especially too, like he was able to. I don't know if it took much convincing, but he was always able to be like, "This is my idea," and just run with it with me. Like Like, no one tried to like really stop him, and if they did, he was still able to spin it to make it work.
He
which
was
I thought was
always,
really fucking cool.
and I wonder if that's why he's not making movies now. Because as you know, it gets harder and harder these days to be able to do that.
Well, I know I think he had either some say or he produced the new flick that came out, Suitable Flesh.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because that was supposed
Crampton, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was supposed to be a Stuart Gordon movie. And unfortunately, with Stuart Gordon's passing, he passed it on to director Joe Lynch. So that's when he did it, and Yuzna, I think, like executive produced it. And
did you see it?
I did, yeah.
Was it good?
It was good. It was decent.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I didn't hate it. I didn't love it either. Like I wanted more.
Yeah, it's hard.
That's
It's
what
hard
it is.
for
I
them to
wanted more.
capture everything that they were just on fire.
Yeah.
As most horror directors
Yeah.
are in their early ages, and you get older, it's like
Yeah, and now to be fair, like Suitable Flesh fits in that Gordon verse. Like I can see this story living in like Reanimator and things like that.
From Beyond.
Yeah, like I can
This
see
is
it.
another awesome.
I love fucking
movie.
From Beyond. I can see it living in that world, but what I think too is that like with films like Society and like the time era that it came out, like you had that ability to go batshit crazy.
There was more of a freedom, which is crazy because they were still working with. They did more with less. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And to this, I mean, it's something from being involved with film. It's something that like I don't know what it is that's so hard to capture. Why it's so difficult to do that now? You know what I mean? To do more with less.
I think because people are spoiled. I think that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people were ever put in a situation where they had to think on their feet.
Oh, that's all the shunting was.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all. I mean, with all that practical work, you gotta fucking
Definitely.
be on it, and you gotta.
Like, you got to be on your feet, and you have to also have people willing to be uncomfortable. Like, the one actor...
Yeah, that's something we're lacking these days.
the one actor was saying, I forget which one it was. It was the friend. Basically said, he's like, I would sit in this fucking thing for like 6 hours.
Oh, yeah.
And like had to sit like that and be like that. But like, you got to get the right people that would be willing to sit in those positions, be a part of this uncomfortable story, because they have to believe that the payoff is going to be fucking worth it. And this movie
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's always... You show this movie to anyone, now, they're going to be like, what the fuck is that?
We know that from our own movies of like throwing up on people and dragging them through dirt and dumb shit.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And some people are so excited, like to get messy, to get killed, and like be in it. And others are like much more hands off.
Yeah, you got to come prepared. You really do.
Yeah.
It's a mental and physical workout.
Yeah.
To be involved with something that requires so much physicality.
But like, I also just feel like we don't have people that are willing to do that, because like we live in a world of like instant gratification.
Absolutely.
And like you sit there and like, granted, like all we're doing, we're sitting in front of a camera and we're shooting the shit and we're having a good time. But like, we're talking about a film that had the process, and we all been through that ringer. That it's not just someone like open up a box and be like, look at what I bought and let's look at this thing.
Yeah,
like,
hours.
Yeah, it's like, no, dude, we're covering people. We're doing molds of people's body parts.
Yeah.
And like making sure that it looks good and sitting in bad weather conditions to make something look right.
And we also know, even from filmmaking, like you make effects and sometimes they don't work and you have to scrap it.
That's another
thing.
And when
we've worked on and we just we casted your entire chest and we never used it.
When you're scrapping it, and then that's material you're throwing. That material is not cheap, as we all know.
It's material. It was excitement for an idea, and you're like, all right, we got to keep moving at some point.
That's what I'm.
That's
what I'm thinking about back then too. Like, was the material as expensive as it is now? Because when you look at the shunting, how much silicone is in that
scene? And then all
scene?
of the tests and everything else like that. I mean, it's amazing.
Of course, hand sculpting.
Yeah,
hand sculpting.
You can see how much of it was just a love for that effect.
Oh,
and
yeah.
How much they cared about it.
Yeah, it was funny. I remember I was like watching a behind the scenes thing, and they brought on some side effects technicians.
Yeah.
Mad George called up his buddies and was like, I need your help. And they thought they were it was gonna be like Predator or like Alien, and they were like, "What the fuck?" Like the dude was like, the minute I walk on set, he's like, "Here, sculpt this." And it's like some dude's face on an ass.
Yeah.
It wasn't a slasher. It wasn't a slasher. It wasn't covered in blood. It was just completely unique, and that's what's amazing.
That was why. Then that's exactly why I chose it as my favorite. Because I was like, when I was approached about doing this, I was like, "What is my favorite kill?" Because I have a lot of them.
Oh yeah.
And I was
so
like,
many.
"What is something though that like that it's almost like an important kill though. Too.
Yeah.
Like it's up there with The Thing.
Yo,
like,
yeah.
It's like what is something that people now that see everything on a green screen or AI, you can look back at it and be like, holy fuck, like it just has a different effect on your sensory perceptors.
Well, it's completely different when it's actually taking up space with the actors and they're literally interacting.
And they're interacting with the
versus with
piece.
a tennis ball that's going to be put in later. Yeah. You know, you can tell that they were interacting with a real.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Did you hear the story of oh god, why am I blanking on his name? The guy who played Gandalf, Ian McKellen. Played Gandalf.
Yeah.
That he had like a mini breakdown while filming the Hobbit movies because he was in a room of green screen and he's just like, this isn't why I became an actor.
Oh yeah,
like,
well, especially after doing Lord of the Rings too,
exactly.
where everything was fucking.
Yeah.
I don't even watch. I never saw the Hobbit movies because I'm
either.
such a fucking Lord of the Rings purist, and I'm like, don't taint my vision of this.
Yeah.
Because I've seen clips and I'm like, ooh,
it's rough. Like the clips I've seen were rough, and it was like there was this shot of him like just surrounded by green screen, and it was like, yeah, Sir Ian McKellen like broke down of like, this isn't why I became an actor. Like I'm not here to talk to a stick. Like I'm a thespian, you know, and like you fucked that up.
Well, everyone saw what that did, you know. Yeah. Like people hated on that, but I mean, I don't know. It just when you see something like weird comparison, when you see something like fucking Society effects wise, and they compare it to The Hobbit, which I don't know why anyone would ever fucking compare those two.
I mean,
I usually compare the two.
You know what? This isn't as good as The Hobbit, but
like I can see, you know, Schmeagol in the shunting. You
know,
know,
definitely
that motherfucker would be in there.
But when you look at those two, there's definitely from a viewer's perspective, like, and it's almost like theater. You know what I mean? And I know, well, Stuart Gordon came from theater, which is why Reanimator it just feels like you're watching a fucking play almost, and because all the shots are so
it's compelling.
Everything's physical in their movies, which is why I love it so much.
I also love like with Stuart Gordon doing theater. I think he was in, I could be wrong, but I think it was like he was in Chicago, and he was doing a play. Him and his wife were doing a play in Chicago, and at one point, and it was after the play Hair came out, and it was like a thing he was doing where it was like this naked orgy scene on stage.
Gordon, of course. He loved that shit.
They got raided and he got arrested.
Oh, he did get arrested.
Yeah,
for public indecency.
Yeah,
or
for all that
like
shit.
That.
And like, he's like, I'm telling a story on stage, and they came in and fucking arrested him. And like, there's nothing more insane than that. Of like. And it's funny because like you look at Stuart Gordon and he's just like this cute little plump man.
Oh like his flannel. Belt.
And like he's
like, oh, we're gonna have the severed head eat her out.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're gonna zoom into it the whole time.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? And it's usually the case too.
Yeah. The people
it's
you
usually
wouldn't
the
expect.
dude who doesn't have the fucking fancy hairdo and the costume on that's coming up with the craziest fucking shit.
Oh my
and that's
God.
why, like, I had to come in here and talk about these guys because I just think they're I think they're highly underrated. I do. I think Yuzna and Gordon, because I mean you have Tix as well.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Tix is fucking awesome,
so
dude.
Long. Fuck.
Remember that? You ever see Tix?
I don't think so.
Oh, Mutant Tix.
Well, this was your first time watching Society.
Yes, I knew the scene, but I don't think I ever watched the entire movie.
Oh, okay.
So it was the first time getting to why we got to the end, and it was.
Yeah, that was a fun.
It was an adventure, yeah.
How was that watching her watch the
It was good because like there were moments because like when we're watching it, like we're also like kind of jotting down a few notes here and there, like as we're watching, and like there's just some points where I'm like looking at her face, and it's just like, oh yeah, I forgot you have have not seen this movie. And
I knew the scene,
no,
but I never realized. Like, it's one of those things like you know it, but you just didn't know where it's from.
and like I haven't seen it since I was like 17.
Mm-hmm.
So like when I was like 17, I was like, give me everything fucking batshit crazy.
Oh yeah, same.
and then
everything possible.
Yeah.
Give me the worst.
And then like revisiting it in my 30s was kind of like watching it for the first time from like just like a fresh perspective. Because like you watch it as a kid. And that's all that you want. It's like, I want...
You just want the shunting.
Yeah, I was like, I want the... I don't care about the
that.
story, this and that. But then, like, we're watching it, and like, oh, man, there's things I didn't even think about with, like, the sister in the shower, and how awkward that is that he's watching her in the shower, and she gets that weird vibe. And
you know, they're not related either, so he probably was feeling a little tingle in his
He just kept saying,
undergarments.
like, I'm adopted, but I might be adopted, but I might be adopted.
Yeah, it's
in
true.
regards to, you
that
wanna
might be
fuck your
why.
sister.
Is that why you keep
Yeah,
looking
like, you
at
keep
his...
talking about being adopted.
They
and looking at
do.
your
They
sister.
do really. Yeah, they touch on some.
They really keep pushing that he is not a part of the family.
it's
Yeah,
that
and
Brady
that's
Bunch
the
mentality.
thing.
Yeah.
It was the Brady Bunch movie mentality
Yeah.
when fucking the older siblings... I think they fuck in the movie, in the 90s movie.
I don't know if they...
It was implied.
I think they might have kissed. It was the Brady Bunch.
But it was them realizing, like, no, wait,
They
no.
They should have fucked.
Yeah, they should have. They definitely
should've.
should have.
But I don't know if the Brady Bunch handled that.
The Brady Bunch should have shunted.
Yes. Oh my
It should
god.
have been
The Brady shunting would have been...
Brady Bunch shunting.
Yes.
That would have just... I would be a massive Brady Bunch fan right now
my God.
if the movie just ended with them having a shunt. You know?
Yes.
And it was just like, Yuzna just pulled his magic again.
Yeah.
He like secretly directed it and just
Yeah.
stuck that in at the end. Oh,
Like the
man,
post-credit
that was-
scene.
Yeah. Oh
shit,
man, that
yes.
is good. That's
I'd be into that.
fucking hilarious.
To backtrack a little bit of what you were saying about like the blood and gore and stuff, that this movie and basically anything in the Gordon verse, because like we can say this film's in the Gordon verse. They're all
connected. They
The lack of blood and gore that they use in order to show the hard work of the effect. Like they're not covering any of these effects. Like the shunting, you can see everything that is going on.
Every single detail
Yeah.
you see. I mean, they like pan cam.
Yeah, nothing
Over the whole.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell there was like a dude with like he had like a handy cam and he was just roving.
Just going,
Yeah.
and everyone's just licking each other
Yeah.
and playing with eyeballs and fisting each other. I mean, it's.
But like they made it a point to like, no, like we worked on this. We're gonna show every detail and we're not gonna hide anything. It's like you said, it's very well lit. It's every fucking wrinkle and crevice and sweat gland is shown, and they did a really good job at making sure like if they weren't talking, you knew what was happening.
Oh, absolutely,
great.
100%.
But it makes me think a lot of like in today's universe of like Terrifier coming out of like a movie made by effects artists.
Yeah.
But it's like on the complete opposite spectrum where everything's covered in blood, everything's an extreme, and they have great effects, but it's so bloody that you're not getting to see how amazing the work is.
To be honest with you, I kind of get bored with that.
I
I'm
do
not
too.
gonna
That's why
lie.
I'm like some of the kills are fucking wonderful in Terrifier, but then it's like this is so
Dude.
much better because it's like you see it. And we work in film and we know how hard this is. And
I
it's like,
do.
it's so much
I
fun. The
agree
payoff
on
is
that.
so much better. So I really wish people would revisit things like this to bring it in.
Same
like,
here, because
to,
sometimes
revisit and
less
make
is more.
Terrifier-esque, but with these types of effects.
With that,
Like,
yeah, where it's like it's a slow build up, so it has more of an impact. You know,
Yeah.
like I watched the first Terrifier, and I will give it credit because it was made by effects artists. You know, I give them
That
credit for what
definitely
they
made me
did.
why I wanted to watch it.
What's up?
That's why I wanted to watch it because it was made by effects
I
artists.
will say though, halfway through it, I was fucking bored. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was the same scene over and over and over again, and I was just fucking sick of it. I'm like, but I'm also super fucking desensitized because I love shit like the shunting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Fair,
So
yeah.
I'm just sitting there like, you know, like, all right, when we like,
Yeah.
and so like, yeah, there needs to be. I don't know. It's such a, that topic is such a thin line to have. I'm so on the fence with what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, because I also love H.G. Lewis movies.
Yeah.
You know? Like, but that was in the 60s, though. So I'm like, I get it. Like, let's just show all this.
The one thing that those films had, and even like Society and things like that, there's substance. There was no there's no substance in Terrifier because like it was meant to be.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah. It's meant to be
No,
fucking
there
thank
wasn't meant
you.
to be any substance.
No,
Like,
exactly.
I
No,
don't think they
okay,
ever
yeah,
pretended-
you're
I'm
right.
not a huge
When-
Terrifier fan, but I don't think they ever
But when they
pretended.
went into part
Yeah.
2, that's when they tried
tried,
to
it didn't-
add
it
substance
didn't
to it, and they tried to build a story. And it's like, I will never knock a story. I'm about story. I love gore and everything like that, but I love a good
story helps. You know what I mean? It
and
does.
With Terrifier 2, it got so convoluted because that movie did not need to be almost 3 hours long.
That's why I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, dude, the first one was an hour and 40, and I was
Yeah.
not because I was
unnecessary,
disgusted, because I was just fucking bored, and I was like, do I want to sit through 3 hours of this?
Yeah, but even like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, they all had substance to them because, like, okay, fine, you're introducing Art, and it's like, okay, he's just a psycho clown thing, and then you tease at the end he has this supernatural ability. But with Freddy and Jason, they have such compelling backstories.
Especially Freddy.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? You gotta love Freddy.
Oh,
I mean,
of course.
I don't want to compare the two too much, but man, dude, the shit talking he
Oh, it's
does
great.
Oh, yeah.
is so on par, and like the fact that the kids love him.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, yeah, the kids
The
love this
popcorn-
guy.
pop icon.
Yeah, like
But yeah, that's the substance. There's things there that help you gravitate towards it. And like, I don't care how playful Art is and he honks the horn and he's a clown. It's like, okay, that's fine. But like, for me personally, it's not enough.
it's not, and
Yeah.
I will fully agree. I mean, this is coming from a guy too who like loves kaiju movies, and I'm only watching them to watch robots
Yeah.
and fucking monsters or whatever fucking beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
But when it comes to certain horror films, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm just a fucking snob.
Well, that's why
I can't.
That's why I'm more intrigued by things like American Mary, like extreme body modification.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
extreme
so much
body
better.
mods. You know,
Have you seen American Mary?
I haven't. No,
Watch
it's
that
been on
movie.
my list.
Yeah, that's a
Definitely-
really good one. Good story, great effects. And
Yeah.
like same thing like with how they did this film, like a lot of like the body mod stuff was like
It
she's
just gets in your
it's
head.
good, yeah.
Yeah.
Because like she's like a surgery student, like dismembering somebody like
It's
bit
like a
by
rape-
bit,
it's a
rape revenge flick.
so
Oh
she-
yeah. What
Yeah.
was that made?
It was like 2007, 2008 it came out. It was the Soska sisters.
Yeah. I have. It's been on my list for a minute. I should probably get around to
I
watching
recommend that. It's a good
You'll like-
watch.
You'll enjoy the effects.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
They're clean. That's
Clean.
the beauty.
That's
They're
it, yeah,
clean.
they're
But
clean.
There's so many different types of effects that they handle within it, and it's not all about like killing, but it's just
Makeup, too.
Yeah, the
Makeup
makeup
effects,
effects, everything
yeah.
about it's just beautiful, and like the blood is literal, like surgical, and like,
Yeah.
everything
Yeah, it
has a
looks
reason. It's just
anatomically
beautiful.
correct.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's done
But then
really
it's like
fucking
again like the slow build up to like the final scene.
Yeah.
Of, like you kind of see bits and pieces of her work throughout the movie, and then you get to see the final.
And then you get to
product
see
at
the
the
final.
end.
Yeah.
I'm
I
kind of
love
realizing
that.
it's all on the same person of like every part of modification of
Oh, really?
amputation and piercing.
Sounds.
And
Yeah.
it's just, like,
Yeah.
it's fucking amazing.
That kind of that reminds me a little bit of House that Jack built.
Yeah,
When they show the
yeah.
house. People fucking hate that movie. I love that.
I thought it
movie.
was good. I enjoyed it.
I enjoy, like you were saying, the slow build up. I mean, that's a fucked up story with him.
Yeah.
I mean, it is kind of funny when they show the kid smiling and like waving. And I laughed at that part, but I'm also a fucking sociopath. But
But you know what? Like we need that. Like to go with that into the shunting. If the worm cult people,
if they had any like pre-shunting scenes, it would have had the same
it
effect.
wouldn't have had the same effect. But
No
also like if they weren't like laughing and enjoying themselves and having a good time, it would have totally changed the thing. Because like I remember like the first time watching it, I was like, oh god, this is wild, but laughing at the same time because it's so batshit crazy.
It's absolutely
Like,
bizarre.
They're having their big orgy, and then the families.
They went to a separate room
Oh
and
yeah,
shunted on their
because
own.
they get all like
wanted to
fucking
fuck each other.
hot and bothered.
Yeah.
Yeah, mom and dad and your sister, we're going to
Yeah.
fuck real quick. And like, yeah, if they would have had that, like, yeah, there couldn't have been like side shunting scenes. You just
No.
need that one big one. And there was another fucking point I had, and I'm trying to remember it. Oh, no one's ever tried to replicate it.
No.
That's another
You're
thing
not
that's
gonna see
awesome.
it.
It's a kill you're not going to see anywhere else. Like,
No.
you know how many fucking times I've seen someone, not even in a kill, but like, it's like a mime or a clown or something, and it like contorts its body and walks backwards. I'm like, God, I've seen this so many
Yeah.
times. Please show me something else.
Yeah.
I'm like, show me anything. But once again, this is coming from a very desensitized person.
Well, you know what? Like you can say
Yeah.
you can say desensitized. Like, we can say that we're desensitized to it because we've been around it, but we're
Yeah.
also like no, like no. There was
numb to
we
it.
are numb, but I had another. We're experienced in it
Yeah.
because these
Yeah.
were things that we like sought out and had the genuine interest in, and like, no, I need to see more and go out and hunt it. So therefore, anything else becomes lackluster because you have that experience. with
Exactly.
it,
You have, and you keep diving in, and it becomes this nice, lovely wormhole
Yeah.
of fucking chaos.
Yeah, you get-
but it's pushing certain boundaries in
Yeah.
the mental sphere of observing film, and I mean, I think that's what good film should do.
Yeah. We
You
need
know?
that. We need
It's always
more.
interesting the parts of movies that stick with you. Like I can't get through Clockwork Orange because of the rape scene. Like it just.
Oh
it
yeah,
just-
well of course,
it just,
most
like,
yeah.
I've tried
wouldn't
skipping it. I've tried, and that one specifically just has such an impact on me that I just can't get through the movie.
Yeah, I mean,
But
no
I
one
watch a million
really.
other movies that have rape scenes. There's something about the way they shot it.
Well,
Oh, yeah?
that and
I just can't
we had to
get that.
skip it when we watched Mother's Day. The
Mother's Day was
Mother's
the
Day
best.
rape
Oh
scene
my
was
god!
nuts.
Well, that one.
And then I think
That was a lot.
One of like zombies, like Rob Zombie's Halloween. was
Oh,
really
yeah, the
good.
mental
There's just, like, a
asylum
few
one.
That's
that
a
were,
tough one.
That
too.
one's
There's a
tough,
few that
yeah.
were like tough.
Yeah,
And,
but
but we've made rape so normalized in film that there's just a few that really just stick out that you're just like, okay, this is.
they're
this is
oh yeah,
interesting.
irreversible.
And it's like,
That's
ooh.
another one where you're like, oh my
Yeah.
god, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And it.
That,
I could sit here and rant. I don't know what you want for the podcast, though. Well, okay. If we're on the topic of this, for
Yeah.
Back Road, the film that we're doing, we're filming the sequel right now. We wanted to film a male rape scene.
Okay.
So fucking bad. Like, not so. That sounds weird. We wanted to just, the director wanted to just, like, let's do full deliverance, and he could not find a dude that would be down for it.
Wow. Okay.
He could not find it. Like
to be
he looked
the doer or the receiver?
the receiver.
Okay.
He could not find a
intense,
dude to
yeah.
be down for it.
Yeah,
But, I mean, we like. I mean, it's another sketchy thing to say, which you might have to edit out.
That's fine.
But like, we had no problem finding women to do it. And like, we were like bummed.
Yeah.
We were like, fuck. Like, we just. And I was the doer.
Yeah.
It's like, God damn it. I was like, God, I just saw. So terrible.
Like, it sounds terrible, but like,
It's so bad.
but like the thing is, like, and if people take it out of context, that's on them. Like, this is
Yeah,
art. This
we're
is
not
story.
condoning any of
No,
this.
nothing's
Yeah,
being
nothing's
condoned.
being
We're
on.
not
Yeah.
condoning
It's
but
art,
like,
it's
yes,
story.
It's
yeah.
story.
Yeah,
But
And-
it's like when it fits in the story, then it's a part. You know, it makes more sense than just for a shock value.
For
Yeah.
just it has to like
Yeah,
I
it
spit
has to
on your
have a
grave.
purpose.
Yeah, because
Something
it's
like
it's
that.
it's like, you know, you don't need to condone something to tell because there are far worse things that has happened in reality than in a fantasy thing.
Oh, 100%.
You know, and
yeah.
it's like the same person. Now I could be wrong with this, but I don't really care. The same person who will watch 1,000,001 true crime documentaries and be so obsessed with that, getting upset with like a fictional story doesn't make any sense to me.
Oh yeah, I don't like
You
people
know?
that like worship like Dahmer.
Yeah,
and they get
yeah,
upset. Like,
exactly. And it's like, oh, they did that in this movie, and it's like, what? Like, did you watch a Serbian film? Like, because I can really make you uncomfortable. If you
I
watch
thought
Serbian.
that shit was funny.
Dude, it was wild.
To this day, I watch that movie and I laugh at it. Once again, I don't know if it's because I saw the Shunting when I was 17, but I don't know.
Your baseline that
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I don't know if it's like they were trying too hard in a Serbian film, but dude, oh my god.
The first time I watched
Like-
a Serbian film, I was really like, I was like, okay, I kind of need a shower. And then I watched it again, and I'm just like, no, this is amazing. Like the way the story is
it's
told,
almost cartoonish.
Yeah, but
you
it's
know?
shot so beautifully. And I'm like watching it, I was like, oh my god, the shot is great. Oh god, that thing is happening. But the lighting is perfect.
Do yourself if you feel that way, watch Salo. I don't know
Okay.
if you'll want to watch it, dude. It is so beautifully filmed, like
Yeah.
Kubrick style, like the
Okay.
angles, the symmetry, the set, like. It's so good, but you're like, oh, all these people are eating shit right
Yeah.
now.
It's kinda like watching,
It's like,
like-
what the fuck is going on?
It's like watching like Holy Mountain or what was the other one that they
yeah,
did?
Holy Mountain or it was the cowboy.
The cowboy one,
Yeah,
yeah.
I forgot. Wasn't that? Didn't that have a naughty scene in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was
Yeah.
like the whole movie. Well, the first half of the movie is like his 5-year-old son naked in the desert for like 20 minutes. Just
Yeah,
walking
man.
around.
Something you can't do anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Either. And the fact that you can even still, I mean, you could buy that now, right?
Yeah.
With that scene in
Yeah.
it, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's how I've seen it. A buddy of mine had it on Blu-ray and he lent it to me.
He's like, watch this.
Yeah, he's like, oh.
Don't you love it?
Well, because
watch this.
he came up to me, he's like, have you ever heard, I forget the director's name, I was like, it sounds familiar. He's like, oh, he did some movie called Holy Mountain. I was like, oh, yeah, I know Holy Mountain. I enjoy that movie. And he was supposed to do Dune. He was the original guy to do Dune.
Oh, really?
And
he probably would have fucking killed it, to be honest.
So a lot of shit went south for him trying to do Dune, which is why David Lynch took over.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised,
Yeah.
to be honest with you. And it's, what was I? I was going to say something else. Oh, my God. Oh, I had a point, and I lost it. Oh, shit. It was a valid point. Fuck.
But I think to sum that up, hopefully this help jog your memory, but like nothing's being condoned. It's art, it's fiction, it's storytelling, because like these are horror realities of things that do happen. Like remember the first time that you did see Deliverance, and knowing that Deliverance is the male equivalent of I Spit on Your Grave.
It absolutely is.
And
it absolutely is, man.
Like it goes both ways on the way that life
who
works.
directed Deliverance?
Oh, I don't know actually. I feel like it was someone like popular.
It was. It was a popular lad.
Because it was it wasn't Burt Reynolds.
No,
right?
but the fact that they should. I'm trying to watch what I say because we're on. I was like, they should have raped Burt Reynolds. Yeah. That would have been awesome, and it should have been way longer. That whole movie should have just been Burt Reynolds getting raped. That is.
You go from I should watch what I say to that.
Yeah.
No, that's totally fine. I get it. So the director was John Borman for Deliverance.
What else did he direct?
Let's see. It's gonna go back a little bit.
Now when we figure out, now I know what I was gonna say.
Oh, he did the original Point Blank.
Oh, okay, yeah. He didn't like Deliverance.
Exorcist
was his only.
2.
Oh, Exorcist 2.
Yeah.
Great. He didn't really branch off from that, I guess. Then did
No, not really.
And Deliverance was a hit, which is weird.
Yeah.
How is it that movie was a fucking hit? Everyone's like, yo, I just saw this movie Deliverance.
I think it was because of Burt Reynolds. I think really Burt Reynolds had to have been
So
the
everyone's like,
selling point.
new Burt Reynolds movie. Let's go watch it.
Yeah,
and halfway in, they're like, what the fuck is this?
All these dudes wanted to do was go on a camping trip.
Yeah,
and
it just
went
into
south.
fucking total south, man.
Literally.
But this has me, and this was what I was going to bring up before, was now you've jogged my memory.
Perfect.
Fucking, I haven't seen Saltburn yet.
Okay.
But everyone's like, oh, Saltburn is so crazy. And I'm like, what? I said to someone, what happens?
It's
and they're like,
fine.
oh, he drinks bathtub cummies. And I'm just like, that's it? That's it?
But that's society for today's world. Like that.
Bathtub cummies?
But
Yeah,
that is, like, this is what they were overwhelmed with. And I'm like, that's not that bad.
Because you know what it is?
It
Like,
was uncomfortable because we were watching as a group and I was like half
Yeah,
watching.
there was
I
like
heard there's
10
a
of
couple
us.
good schlong shots.
Yeah, there's a lot of good shots.
I'll watch it for the dick.
It's something
I
to
love a
watch in
good
a
dick.
group to watch each other react.
Because like,
Okay,
against each
I
other.
got it. I'd
You know
probably
what I mean?
fucking fall asleep.
honestly,
Or laugh.
I think
I laughed.
Yeah, I probably would have lost more interest if we had watched it alone.
like by
I think
yeah.
it was a group of us and watching different people react to different things. It was
Because like
funnier.
it was funny seeing what made people uncomfortable. Like because like the bathtub scene, like he like spies on this dude like wanking it in the tub, and he finishes in the tub and
Who
like
wanks it in the top?
rich people. See,
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
All, it's all weird rich people.
all-
that high society bubble bath wanking.
Bubble bath wankers.
Yeah.
That's how I'm going to start calling people up in Northern Liberties. Look at all these fuckers. They're probably going to go home and jerk off in their bathtubs. Fucking salt burners. But so that's basically that was the big scene.
Like he like slurped up the leftover jizz and bath water.
The whole tub.
Not the whole time. It was like
No,
like
in the
left in the
drain.
drain, and he was like tonguing the drain and like slurping it up.
That's
and then
it?
and then like the kid, like spoiler alert, the kid dies, and he's so upset that he's dead. He's like laying on his grave that he decides to like take off his pants and like stick his dick in the dirt of the grave.
Okay. All
And
right.
and
That's
it's just
all right.
like and like I'm watching it, but like when you if you're paying attention to the story, like it makes sense, like for what's actually going on, like it can kind of make sense. But I think people blew it so out of
The
proportion.
vampire scene.
Oh yeah, he ate this girl out while she was on her period, and was like, "Oh, I'm a vampire," and it's like, okay.
Yes,
Like-
I've been a vampire plenty of times.
And this is what, yeah.
But I think it's exactly what you said.
Yeah.
It's extreme for this generation of
Yeah.
people because they
Haven't seen the shunting.
They haven't
Please
seen
don't
the
get
shunting.
Everyone, they should show society in schools. They should be like, hey, everyone,
In health
in
class.
health class, sex education. Here's,
Oh, yeah.
here's how to have sex. And they just show the shunting.
I mean, nothing will cause abstinence faster.
No, exactly. Hey, what you want to know what actual
If you want
sex
to
is?
have sex,
Here's what it is.
Exactly.
And by the way, if your family's upstairs fucking, it's totally normal.
Yeah, it's cool.
Then
Don't
your
worry
dad
about it.
starts talking out of his ass. just.
I am a butthead. You were right.
But this is why I chose this kill, because look at like the conversation that it brings
Yeah.
up too. Like you could sit here and divulge in these topics for so long, and I just love this kind of. I could just go on and on and on, and I mean it's a true work of art. I mean, there is some stuff out there that we see. People are trying to bring it back.
Yeah, but speaking of suitable flesh, like listening to interviews with Joe Lynch, that's what he was saying he was trying to do. He's like, I want to make media that makes you uncomfortable. Now, personally, watching Suitable Flesh, there was nothing in that movie that made me uncomfortable. Like, you know, we've all seen Heather Graham in Boogie Nights, so like there was nothing that she could do in this movie to make it any worse than what she did in that movie. Same thing with Barbara Crampton. Like, I don't know, like he talked a lot about that, and I agree. We need to start pushing the envelope more, and we need to break out of this like protection that people need to feel, and like this pat on the back and stuff. It's like, no, like you need to.
But almost in a situational protection that's beyond, you know, Terrifier. Once again, I hate shit talking, but like, you know, watching a clown smashing someone's head in for 3 hours.
Yeah,
you need there's certain topics.
Yeah.
You know,
because you know, like we had that with the Hatchet series. When the Hatchet series came out, it was just the same thing as Terrifier.
I'll agree.
But Hatchet at least had a better story.
Yeah,
to it, and I'll give it that. But it's the same sense. It's the same resurgence coming full circle.
Yeah, here's a guy with an axe, whether it be a big monster looking dude or a clown.
Yeah.
Going around, which is fine. You know, if you're having a stressful day and that's all you want to watch,
I get it.
Throw it on. You know what I mean? But on terms of like shock value and something that's going to make you sit, it's going to sit in your head for a minute. Yeah. And that's what I like. When I watch, like, perfect example is The Lighthouse.
Okay.
Have you seen that one?
Yeah.
Like, if you watch something and then, like, the next week you're still like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What the fuck was, you know, like, what?
Well, that's today's media. We watch it, we consume it, and we're done.
You just consume and then you're done on to the
next.
next.
You just forget what you just saw.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not a movie you're going to forget.
No.
And I like that, and that's the thing, and there's like a spirit in that, like with films like The Thing and you know, fucking Society, Reanimator, like it's something that they'll be preserved.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just because of the artistic achievements of what they did.
Oh, yeah. And, like, there's not many movies nowadays that you can look back upon and be like, I remember exactly where I was when I saw it, what was going through my head the first time I seen it, and just how impactful. There's nothing that's impactful anymore. Like talking about Society and the shunting of, like, I was that 17-year-old kid that just wanted more and more
back at
batshit
Netflix,
crazy.
man. Remember when you could just do the Netflix fucking...
Get the discs?
That was gold for, like, a young... Because I didn't grow up around here. I grew up in, like, Central PA. And we didn't have shit. We literally... Like, we had a mall that barely carried anything, and then that mall closed down.
Okay.
So, like, I couldn't go anywhere. So then I'm like, what the fuck? What is this Netflix thing?
Yeah.
I'm like, $8 a month what they have on here. And I'm like, oh my God. I remember that. I was like, they have Cannibal Holocaust. And to me, that was like the grail back then.
Yeah.
And like, dude, my list was just like that. Society. That's where I saw Salo and all that good stuff.
Like,
and just that like, I don't know. It was like going on a treasure hunt.
Yeah.
But that was a part of the experience when we were growing up.
Of just finding something, of being 12. Remember the Jack Frost VHS cover? I remember being a kid. See, that's something I'll never forget.
Yeah.
Walking down the aisle of Blockbuster and being like, oh,
I need this movie.
Yeah, when it moves. Like, Oh my
There's
god.
so much more.
Yeah.
We just don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
It's like just shock
You
value,
don't. I mean, what it
poster art
is-
and things, and it just doesn't work.
It's like the physicality. It's almost like going to an art show versus looking at a painting
Yeah.
on, Instagram. Or
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, it's still like, oh, that's cool. Here's a like. But when you're standing right in front of something and
Yeah.
seeing the textures.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've even worked on movies where they've changed the poster art to be one clip just
Oh,
for shock value,
yeah.
and you're like, this has nothing to do with the fucking
Change
movie.
it to one clip.
So
They
like,
changed the artwork to one reference of a movie that had nothing.
That had nothing
wasn't
to do,
really a
just to
big
try
Yeah.
to draw people
Just to
in.
draw
exactly,
people
and
in,
you're
yeah.
like, that's cool. Like it's pretty. Like it has the effect, but it's not. We
It's-
know
it's-
this movie. And
it's
that's
misguiding.
Basically, being like, you're gonna be disappointed if
That
you watch-
reminds
if
me-
you see this poster,
dude,
you think that this is what you're watching. Like,
The
that's pretty much where I was.
the best like example of that. You ever see Trick or Treat? Like the 80s one?
yeah, Sammy
Where-
Kerr.
Yeah, the original art is like the dude, and he's like flaming, and he's got
He got the guitar.
and then the
Yeah.
DVD
Yeah.
cover, it's
It's
just
Gene
fucking
Simmons
Gene
and Ozzy.
Simmons and Ozzy Osbourne,
Terrible.
and they're not even in it that long, and you're
No.
like, what the
But it sold
fuck?
copies, didn't it? Like,
Yeah,
It
like
did,
that's
yeah.
it. Just Gene Simmons, Ozzy, that, and it's
No,
like,
but
oh
Sammy
my
Kerr was
god.
So much
Sammy,
fucking better.
see the original Sammy Kerr cover. We got to talk about fucking Trick or Treat because I love that movie.
Oh, it's such
so
a fucking
much.
awesome movie. Every October, I
Yeah,
watch it. It's
all
so
the time.
good.
We have the soundtrack on vinyl.
Oh,
we got that
it's
Fast
such a-
Way soundtrack.
Yeah, Fast,
so
dude,
fucking
the
good.
soundtrack is.
Oh my god! But yeah, that Sammy Kerr cover would have sold more than two photos of Gene Simmons and Ozzy Osbourne, who they're not in it that much. But the photos isn't even of them in their characters.
No,
it's just a photo
it's just
of
like
them.
Google Gene Simmons,
Yeah.
Google Ozzy Osbourne. Here you go.
Yeah.
Terrible Photoshop font. Trick
Yeah.
or Treat. It's like,
Horrendous.
Oh my
come on.
God.
Did you know? Fun fact that who's singing on that Fast Way
Oh,
album?
it's the dude from Flogging Molly.
Yeah,
It
I love
blows
that.
my mind every time.
I love telling all the street metal kids that.
Yeah.
You know what's to do for Flogging Molly? Ugh.
I fucking
I want
love
him
Not
to
cool
play it.
anymore.
Every time we see
Oh,
Flogging
yeah.
Molly, I just want him to say.
I
I
would
know.
love for him
Just
to
Like,
do
just do it.
it.
Yeah.
Do that whole soundtrack, but as Flogging Molly.
Yeah, oh my fucking god, dude. Just add like a banjo to it.
Dude, yeah,
That'd be
just
so
like
sick.
kick drum. Hey, dude. I would die. I would literally die on my. Oh my god, that would be so funny.
So we can start with you since this is your first time seeing it. So what are your final thoughts on the shunting and society?
What are your final thoughts on? That's such a good.
I don't think there can be final thoughts. I think it stays with you forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
think it's
fair.
like we said, it's one of those movies I'm going to keep thinking about. It's going to stay with me. I didn't just digest it and move on. It's a part of me now. It's a lot, and it was amazing, and it was disgusting and beautiful, and I want to watch it again. And I feel like there's more and more I'll catch every time, and it sticks with you. It's fucking ridiculous. I loved it.
And Ryan, your final thoughts on shunting?
I think my final thoughts on shunting. It's so funny. No, honestly, I think for me is when you look at the background of it, like how it was made, and Yuzna just basically went to Screaming Mad George and was like, this guy's fucking out of his mind. So I should just let him roll with it. I firmly believe that in a creative process, obviously there's an overall vision. But if ideas fit the vision and you're working with someone else and you let them roll with it and you don't put them in a box, you can really get magic. You can get some serious magic out of that. Maybe it's lightning in a bottle, because sometimes you can also get total shit out of that.
Yeah.
But
Too many cooks.
yeah, sometimes there's too many cooks in the kitchen. But in this case, for me, it's a perfect example of this guy knows what he's doing. I'm gonna let him roll with it, and just the fact that they put trust in the process, which to me is like such a, in all my creative projects, that's like a main rule of mine. So
I like that. I can piggyback off of both you guys that I 100% agree that it sticks with you. It is definitely a work of passion and art and just pure substance. And I think like for me, like one of my final thought on shunting is like, as uncomfortable as it looked, you can tell everyone had a blast. And like that is something that I feel makes just good art in general, when you can see someone, like any emotion, it doesn't have to be joy, but any emotion that is clear in a product. And like when you're watching a movie and you're watching how the actors are, you can always get a glimpse of like a certain charm that they're having. It's like, I know that they had a blast doing this. like watching, like we recently went back and revisited the Bill and Ted movies. And like watching them, it's like you can tell Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves are having a fucking blast.
Oh yeah,
on
just
that
making
set.
silly
Yeah,
shit.
especially the segment, especially Bogus Journey, like when they bring in William Sadler as Death, and you can see like they're just having so much fun. And that's how I felt with the Shunting. Is like there was something there that they were all like experiencing together. That it's like, oh my god, this is gonna be
Chemistry.
great. Yeah, the chemistry. Thank you. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah, it was all chemistry.
And you
Natural
can,
chemistry.
You can vibe off of that just by watching it and be like, oh my god, like this is, and like that's part of like where that magic comes in, and part of like the impactfulness of that scene of just like there's that there, and that's what I fucking take out of it.
It's that little Nicky magic.
Yeah,
Because you can say the same about that fucking movie.
yeah, and they just had a fucking blast.
It's not
all
really-
along with it.
It's like, hey, let's just fucking do whatever.
Yeah.
You can feel it though. You can feel that little Nicky magic.
Yeah.
Little Nicky magic. I'm gonna use that from
I
now.
love it.
That's the conclusion.
Yeah, that's what I got out of the Shunting is little Nicky
Little
magic.
Nicky magic.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody, for watching the newest episode of Kill of the Week. You can follow more of our episodes by following at Jerks Productions on Instagram, Twitter, or X, whatever the fuck it's called. YouTube, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Jerks Productions, to get all the episodes and everything else that we have coming up. So, Joe, where can everyone find you and everything else you got going on?
In addition to Jerks, I also run 8213 Desserts, so you can find that on Instagram and Facebook.
Ryan?
Catch you later. I'm Ryan. Check out Family Garden. You can check out Back Road 2. We're going to be in production this summer. And I also do some little mini monsters by the name Skull Pit Mutants. You can go purchase them. You can find us on Instagram at Skull Pit Mutants.